He's on diet maybe. So, with these words, I'd like to, don't want to interrupt Father Benjamin, if you'd like to come and say a few words. He became a very good friend of mine, and we were talking that one day we need to play volleyball, you were saying, together, or basketball?
Volleyball or basketball,
or anything.
cricket.
Or cricket, cricket.
So Father John and I, when he arrived at the parish, Father John took the initiative to reach out to a lot of the communities in the area, and Imam Rashid was one of the first to respond, and we wanted to get more dialogue going. Drive up and down South Poplar Island, and it's just one religious institution after the next, you know. And I had been thinking to myself since I arrived, like, do they do anything together? Do any of us? And so I was thrilled when Father John made one of those moves, and it's worked out beautifully. And I remember coming here the first time and having not had any kind of really formal interactions with the Islamic community before. I had some friends in high school who were Muslims, but that was kind of the extent of it. We didn't talk much about it. So I thought, what is this going to be like? What are we going to talk about? What will we do? You know, what is their place going to look like? I don't know. I don't know any of these things. What kind of art will I hang on the walls? I don't know. And we went into this building. We went up the elevator and we saw some couches. They brought out donuts and coffee. And they had a good taste, you know. And we just had a really wonderful conversation, and we talked about where we were from. Just the more we talked, the more I found so much of life that we held in common. And you know, theological discussions haven't really even gone on, but they haven't been necessary, you know? How many people do you meet in a day where you start telling them about what they believe about the divine? And so then Saturday night into Sunday morning, and I remember I was out late Saturday night at the hospital, and Sunday morning I had a meeting with some parishioners, and my brother in Australia was the first one to text me to say, are you okay? Like, is there anything, what's going on? And I said, what are you talking about? My brother in Australia. So it started to settle in, and I kind of needed to focus on my meeting. And after the meeting, the day just got heavier and heavier and heavier. I spent Sunday afternoon with some of the victims' families downtown, trying to help them sort through some things, and it's a nightmare, you know, as you might imagine. But came back to celebrate the 6 o'clock Mass, which was exactly what my soul needed after a very peculiar day. And I met with my mom after the Mass, and she was telling me about how they notified all the families. It really brought me down again, because the way they did it was very impersonal. And so my mom and stepdad had been there for most of the day, and they were really struggling with how that whole thing developed. And so we were like, I was coming out of the Mass, and I was immediately just kind of brought back down a little bit. We went back to the house and talked. And I said, well, down the street, there's a prayer vigil at 9, let's go. And they were like, we're ready, let's go. And we came, and I can't tell you how much consolation I felt being here and having just some simple prayers together, sharing a meal like this together. We're outside, sitting at a table, you know, and the whole community. So my mom, who also grew up as an Air Force brat, and has had a diversity of experiences in her own life, also did not have much exposure to anything of the Muslim religion or culture. So we split up, the men were eating on one side, the women on the other, and some of the ladies said, would you like to come and pray with us? And she said, sure. And she said they invited her to come upstairs, and they gave her something to cover her head with. She could, you know, fit in with everything else. And just felt so welcome and so affirmed, and that there was so much unity that could be shared there. You know, of course, she didn't understand everything that was going on, but their presence together, you know, the community that they shared, and we went home just feeling so much better about everything. You know, I mean, obviously we're still all healing, but it's going to be so much easier for us to heal together. you know? And I think the things that we are sometimes the most afraid of are the things that we don't know. And so, yeah, there's been kind of a wide gap in our faiths, but in our communities. If it takes something like this to get us back together, so be it. You know, we're here, and now this is happening. And so I think that God is going to bring a lot more good out of this. And we've only just begun. So here's some more of that.